Would you like to do more exercise for your health or to lose weight? But when you think of exercise, it seems like a lot of hard work. Do you think you have to work harder? Well, in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you that you may already be doing enough, but just not in the right way. And I'll help you understand what exercise actually is and how you can adapt your lifestyle and become healthier and fitter without having to make life harder. So if you are somebody that's wanting to get healthier and fitter and you want to start doing more exercise, but you just don't know where to start, you may be one of those people that started exercise programs before. You've got to a certain point and it's all just seemed like too much hard work, doesn't fit in with your routine, other things get in the way, it's not being made a priority, and it's just all too much. So throughout this video, I'm going to be explaining the different types of exercise, how you can monitor your exercise so you know you're doing the right thing, how to stay consistent and not fail, and how you already might be doing enough exercise but in the wrong way. As we're talking about exercise, you'll see that I'm out walking, and this is a moderate level of exercise because I'm raising my heart rate. It's the raising of the heart rate that counts it as exercise, and that could be doing anything, not just walking. Even be doing housework, gardening, walking to the shops, walking the dog. So I'm in Cornwall, near Charlestown. Thought I'd take you out on my 3-mile walk that I do. So at the moment I'm walking up a hill, so the intensity is slightly harder because I can feel myself out of breath a little bit more because of the hill. So yeah, I'm going to take you with me, show you a little bit of the beaches and the harbour area down here, as well as talking to you about exercise whilst doing exercise. So as you see, I'm now going downhill, and that hill definitely got me out of breath. So now we're on the downhill. It's more moderate exercise, or light to moderate, I would say, going down the hill. Depends how fast you walk, but going up that hill definitely, yeah, I couldn't have spoken to you very well coming up the actual hill. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the different levels of exercise as we go through this video. So if we look at the NHS guidelines for exercise to keep healthy, we're looking at 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week, or 75 minutes of vigorous, plus strength training twice a week. So that's 30 minutes a day over 5 days of moderate exercise. That doesn't mean you have to do it all at once. It might fit in with your routine better to do it all at once, but you may already be active in a job that you're doing, and you could be already doing them 30 minutes a day. That's recommended. As I said, anything that gets your heart rate up is classed as exercise. So a general week could look at 3 to 5 days with moderate exercise and 1 to 2 days with higher intensity and 2 sessions of strength training a week. So I'm now at Charlestown Harbour area, which is very pretty. I think they're still doing some work on it ready for their season, but it's very nice. And this is why I love this type of exercise. Going off walking, exploring. The walking is my moderate sessions. I also do some running throughout the week, which is my vigorous sessions. And I do have equipment at home, so I can either do strength work at home or I can do it in the gym when I go in the gym. So I do a run once or twice a week. I also do walking to work sometimes, and then I run back. I do this walking once a week, and I also do the cross trainer once a week as well. And so if I feel like doing the strength training, then I will do it from the gym. Sometimes I do it at home. So if we look at the different levels of intensity, then they can be explained in different ways. Some people explain them in zones, some people explain them light, moderate and vigorous, and in betweens and that as well. But how do we know what exercise zone, for example, that we are in? So let's look at how I work out mine at my age. I'm 49. So if you take the number 220, and it's always the number 220, and you minus your age, that gives you your maximum heart rate. So put that to one side for now. For example, mine is 171. Then you need to take your resting heart rate. Just find somewhere peaceful and quiet and relaxing, and take your heart rate by putting your fingers on your wrist and work out over a minute how many beats per minute you are. And that is your resting heart rate. If you're not sure, you can do it 3 times and take the average of the 3. Now, normally mine's around the late 50s, early 60s. So let's just say my resting heart rate is 60. So then I would minus my resting heart rate from my maximum heart rate, which then would give me 111. So once you've worked that out, the next thing is to work out the percentages for yourself so you know where your training zones are. And to do that, you would take the number 111, for example, for myself, and then I would find the percentage, 50% of that, for example, and then add in my resting heart rate again, which is 60. So if we're looking at 50 to 60% plus my resting heart rate, from 50% to 60%, which is zone 1, as I'd like to call it, the really light zone, I'm looking at 115 to 125 beats per minute, and that's what you would be working at. So that's normally like a light walk or a bit of housework or that kind of thing. If you look at them and you put them in zones 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you look at zone 1 being 50% and then plus your heart rate of 60, that is, like I said before, that is 115 to 125 beats per minute. Look at zone 2 as 60 to 70% and you're looking at 125 to 138 beats per minute. Zone 3 being 70 to 80%, I'm looking at 138 to 149. Zone 4 being 80 to 90%, which that is definitely vigorous intensity. So for me, that would be 149 to 160. And that's normally where I sit when I go for my runs. And zone 5 being 90 to 100%. For me, I'm looking at 160. So I don't want to be going over 160 beats per minute when I am training. So all of that might seem a lot, and a lot of figures to take in and a lot of working out. So a simpler way that we can do this, we could look at the 1 to 10 scale. 1 to 2 is very easy, you're breathing easy, not even realising you're doing any exercise. 3 to 4, light exercise, so you are realising you do it, but you're still managing perfectly well. So 5 to 6 is moderate, that's where I like to be, where you know you're working out, you're doing something, you know you're exercising, you know you're moving, you can feel that your heart rate has gone up a bit. And your breathing becomes a little bit more difficult, but not totally out of breath. And that's where I like to be. And that's where I am when I do my walks. That's why I love it, because I know that I'm working out. 7 to 8 feels hard, where that's more vigorous, where you're starting to be out of breath. You can't talk while you're doing your exercise. I class that as 7 to 8 to being hard. And then 9 to 10, very hard. So if you think of it like that, think to yourself, how do I feel on a scale of 1 to 10? You'll know what level of intensity you're working at. And if you're wanting to do a moderate walk and you feel that, hang on, this feels more like a 8 or 9, not a 5 or 6, just bring it down a little bit. Talking about different intensity levels, I'm now walking back up the hill that I came down before, and I may end up being a little bit out of breath. It may take me to a 7 or 8 instead of a 5 or 6. And when we look at exercise, there are different kinds of exercise that we can do. Cardio for your heart and lungs, strength training for your muscles, flexibility for movement, and balance for stability. And you don't need to do all of these all at once. It's just finding a balance over time. So think about, what is it that you're already doing in the way of exercise that raises your heart rate, that you may feel like a 5 or 6 on. What is it that you're already doing in your life? Write that down and count that as exercise. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, people can look at exercise and think they've got to change their whole routine and add all this vigorous exercise in where they need to be working hard and sweating. Let me give you an example. If you've got a dog, you could take the dog out for 30 minutes every day at a moderate level, 5 to 6 on the 1 to 10 scale. It's about finding something that fits in with your routine and something that you enjoy. And it's also about making it a priority, rather than everything else in life being a priority. Sometimes we can seem to put everybody else first and forget about ourselves. But as they say, put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help others. So look after yourself and look after your body. Find the time, make it a priority in your routine, and see if you can work around what you already do by increasing dog walks, for example, time, or increasing the intensity. I haven't got much of this hill to go now. Near at the top, I would say it felt like a 7. I would put it as a 7, just out of moderate but not quite into vigorous. So yeah, a little bit. I feel it a little bit on my breath, so I can still speak, so it's not a 9 or 10. I wouldn't say it's an 8. If you look at moderate being a 5 or 6, and you can talk quite comfortably on moderate, I'll put myself a 7 right now, I think, just out of moderate. So what does all this mean then? And why am I sharing it with you? Well, this is part of my Healthy Habits series. I have other videos if you want to go back and have a look at them. Last week's video was on carbs and macronutrients. I just wanted to share how important it is to keep our bodies moving, especially as we get older. It doesn't always mean running around and getting ourselves hot and sweaty. Just moving the body and raising the heart rate is really important to keep healthy. You may want to do exercise to lose weight, and I will be doing a video in the future sometime about exercise for weight loss. But this video is just all about understanding different heart rate zones, how you can work yours out. They're never 100% accurate, it's just a guide, how you can work out your training zones and understanding your body, so not overdoing it. Because one of the things I did want to talk about is that overdoing exercise, doing too much, too quick, too soon, too hard, can stress the body out, and it can have a negative effect on the body. It can cause cortisol being around longer, which can cause your body to store fat. I have explained that more in a previous video, so if you want to know a little bit more about cortisol and how it affects the body, I have done a video on that as well. Just have a look back at my back catalogue and you'll find it. And we don't want cortisol to be hanging around too long, so that can have an opposite effect. So if you're wanting to lose weight, you could actually put stress in your body out and putting the weight on. So you're trying to be healthy. So it's all about moderation, building yourself up, not making too much changes straight away if you're new to exercise. It's about making some changes, looking at what the NHS recommends, which is 150 minutes throughout the week of moderate exercise, 30 minutes a day, so that could be a dog walk. It's as simple as that. Just being aware of it, just getting your body to move more. Just enjoy it. If we're only here once and we only get one life and we are getting older, make the most of it. Enjoy what you do. I've really enjoyed that walk. I've enjoyed talking to you while I'm walking. I've enjoyed going on the beach. I never would have thought that was possible if I didn't go out and explore different areas. So find what's interesting to you. Some people like cycling. Some people like swimming. Whatever your exercise is, whatever you enjoy, find what you enjoy that raises your heart rate, keeps your body moving, and just have fun. It's all about finding the time and how we can fit this exercise into our daily and weekly routines. And I'll be talking more about that on the next video next week. And if you've been following me, you'll know that I am tracking this walk again, and it's going towards my virtual miles. This is my 3-mile walk that I do once a week and film. And I think fitness trackers are an amazing way of keeping on top of what you're doing. Yes, they're not always 100%. They can show you your heart rate as you're doing the training. And if you've worked out your training zones, they are an easy way to help you keep in your training zone by just checking what beats per minute your body is actually at. And make sure you're not pushing yourself too hard and staying at a higher level for too long, especially if you're not used to exercise. So I think fitness trackers are amazing for that. They're a great guide. So if you're enjoying this content, I also have a community. The link is in the description. Go ahead and check that out and see if that's something that you want to be part of. I do have a free Wheel of Life series there running at the moment. So if that's something that you're interested in, go and have a look at that, about all the different areas of your life. I'd also like to know about what exercise you do and how you're getting on, and if there's any improvements that you want to make. And if you've got any stories about exercise, did you start? Did you stop? Do you want to start again? You don't know where to start? I love reading your comments, so please drop me a comment and let me know how you're doing. So thank you for coming along with me today down to the beach and harbour in Charlestown. I've really enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you, goodbye.